Hi everyone. With everything that's going on in Israel today and with Hamas, I just wanted to take a look at the situation. It's been like a generation since anything like this happened in the Middle East, and in the 67 and 73 wars, Israel was able to beat the Arabs and Middle Eastern countries really easily. Now we have a totally different situation now because the Middle East is armed to the teeth. A lot of those Middle Eastern countries have a lot more money, and they also have access to Chinese and Iranian weapons. And as we've seen in Ukraine, Iranian weapons are pretty deadly. Now Iran now has a hypersonic missile capable of travelling at Mach 13 to Mach 15. And just in case you don't know, Mach 15 is actually 11,500 miles an hour. And that is really fast. You're not going to be stopping something coming in that fast. And in the last 4 months since they unveiled that weapon, anybody could have bought that in the Middle East. It really is a powerful weapon. What it is basically, it's a precision-guided two-stage solid-fueled missile with a range of 1,400 kilometers and a terminal speed, like I said, of Mach 13 to Mach 15. The original operational range was 1,400 kilometers. And that's 870 miles, which is not quite far enough to hit Tel Aviv, but it can hit various parts of Israel. And they've increased that, is the word on the street. They've basically increased it, as they said they would on day one when they actually unveiled the missile. And its warhead has a spherical engine running on solid fuel with a movable nozzle that allows the warhead to increase its own speed and move in all directions. And this thing is pretty maneuverable. It can actually get up just outside the atmosphere if it wants to. It's really, although they call it a hypersonic missile, it's a combination of hypersonic and ballistic. But the cold hard fact is, when it comes in, its final speed is between Mach 13 and Mach 15, which is pretty quick. And you know, we've seen a lot from the West not believing anything Iran does, but the loitering cruise missiles caused absolute devastation in Ukraine and maybe even changed the track of that war, because it totally changed the game plan there. Obviously there have been a lot of Western doubts about the speed here, and the Iranian reaction, is when there's a war you'll find out that this is true. And the West says this every time when anybody makes a new weapon. It always says, oh, it can't be true. And the cold hard fact, unfortunately for the West, is we are falling behind. No Western country has a hypersonic cruise missile. No Western country is even anywhere near it. The Americans unveiled something a couple of days ago on October the 5th. But all they had were plastic models and pictures and artists' renditions. They don't have a workable engine. I'm not sure they even know how to make one. It took the Russians 6 years, and they had to invent a new engine called a scramjet for their hypersonic cruise missile. And they also had to invent a new fuel. So we're not talking simple stuff here. And it may well be at the moment beyond the technical capabilities of the West. But the cold hard fact is Russia has them. Iran has them, and so does China, and India will have one pretty soon. So that's 4 countries that have them. So they're a pretty devastating weapon. The other thing the Iranians unveiled on the 25th of May is a Class 4 ballistic missile called the Kheibar missile. And let's look at this. This is basically on the unveiling of the first hypersonic ballistic missile, which is the cruise missile. And those are the main guys who are viewing that. Now let's look at the Kheibar missile taking off as well. This is the demonstration on the Kheibar missile. It's a ballistic missile, and it's basically a Class 4 ballistic missile called the Kheibar. Iran also has now put 3 vehicles into space, and the last one, the Noor 3, which was only launched a week or 2 ago, was actually done by the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, the military wing. So they have some real capabilities, those guys. And we always said in the West that the Iranians would never get into space, but now they're on their 3rd spacecraft. Now, this Kheibar missile is pretty lethal. It's got a strike range of 2,000 kilometers, and I'll show you that strike range. Now look at this. It goes well beyond the borders of Israel. It goes right into Africa. They can also hit countries in Eastern Europe from Iran. They can hit most of India. Not that they'll ever fire a missile that way. They're always going to be going towards Europe or Israel. But they do look at the range on it. It's a pretty powerful range. And it can also pack a serious punch, as it can carry a 1,500 kilogram warhead. Well, that's 3,300 pounds. That's a heck of a warhead. And it doesn't just have one potential warhead. They've got a range of different warheads they can put on it. In some ways, it's similar in some ways to the Russian Iskander cruise. Well, I call that cruise missile. It's not a cruise missile. It's a ballistic missile. That has a speed of 11,500 miles an hour, and that one is nuclear capable. That's not that far from the UK. They've got it in the Kaliningrad Russian region, which is next to Germany and Lithuania. In fact, that region was once where the German kings were buried. So that shows you again how powerful Russia is. So looking at this range, Iran is getting pretty capable now. It's had a lot of orders for its Shahid 6 drone, which was the loitering drone. They also have a drone that looks like the MQ4 Reaper, or MQ9 Reaper, the American one. And that thing, if they had it in Algeria, they could hit both Paris and London using that one particular drone. So that again is quite a dangerous drone. That was just unveiled fairly recently, the Mojar, if I've pronounced it right, the Mojar 10. And again, I think that's got a 2,000 kilometer range. So this one, just to tell you a bit about the Kheibar missile, what has the American military strategists really worried about this Kheibar missile is that it has a very small signature on the radar, and that makes it very hard to detect and intercept. So it's got stealth capacity, it has a very low radar cross section. The range, as I said, is 2,000 kilometers, which is 1,240 miles. The warhead, as I said, is 1,500 kilograms or 3,300 pounds. It's powered by what the Iranians are calling a hydraulic self-igniting fuel, and the reason they went down that path is because if they get a call from Iran saying get the missile ready, they can have it ready in 12 minutes. So that was a big advantage for them, being able to do it fast. Now, one of the other big worries at the moment is a comment by an American official saying that Iran can make fissile material for a bomb in about 12 days. Now, everything Iranian is underground. Even the drone factories are underground. They have a lot of capability underground, and we can't hit that. So we don't really know what's going on there. So they could well have already made it. If I had that capability, I would have done it before now. So they may already have nuclear bombs for all we know. So we don't know what could go on with those. The cold hard fact is within a few hours, actually tomorrow, Egypt, Saudi Arabia and Jordan are going to meet to discuss the situation. And there's no doubt that somewhere in that meeting they're going to discuss whether the Arab countries should get together and attack Israel. Whether that is a realistic prospect, we don't know. The cold hard fact is when that happened before, the Arabs were not very rich, they didn't have that good weapons, and Israel was able to make a real mess of them very quickly. This time it's completely different, and the fact that an Egyptian policeman shot 2 Israeli tourists today just shows that tempers are running high. He obviously couldn't control himself and he just did it. And there's a lot of the Iranian leadership are known for being hotheads, very, very dangerous guys. So we don't know where this is going. So I just thought I would put a video out there just to explain some of the technical capabilities that they have. They also have some technically warships that are disguised as just ordinary carriage ships, and they can carry troops, they can carry missiles and drones. So those things were just noted by an Israeli defense general. So we certainly have to keep an eye on this situation. It could just snowball into all kinds of things where the US may get involved. I don't know whether Russia will get involved, but certainly it's going to go a little crazy down there. Certainly giving the US something else to look at anyway. So with that being said, I'll just say thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I am trying to grow the channel. It's doing, you know, reasonably so far. I'm getting quite a few views on some of the videos. So please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. And thank you for watching.